you're using LinkedIn to grow your business but not seeing results, you're probably making one of the 5 critical mistakes that I'm about to show you. But hold on, there's light at the end of this tunnel. Each of these mistakes has a simple fix that you can implement today. I'm not going to waste your time with generic advice like post consistently or use hashtags. These are the actual specific reasons why most businesses struggle to generate real results from LinkedIn. Let's break them down one by one, starting with the most common mistake I see. The first mistake I see everywhere is businesses are obsessing over their company page when they should be leveraging personal profiles instead. Now, I can talk to so many clients who have posted on their company page and they will spend months posting content, getting very low impressions. We're talking about 100 impressions a post, getting maybe a couple likes if they're lucky, but getting essentially 0 leads. Meanwhile, when we look at their competitors who were crushing it on LinkedIn, they couldn't figure out why his strategy wasn't working. And here's what most people just don't understand. The LinkedIn algorithm heavily favors personal profiles over company profiles. It's not even close. The average personal profile gets at least 5 to 10, 5 to 20x more organic reach than a company page, even with the exact same content. And there's a really deep reason why this approach fails. And there's a few ones here. One is people don't want to connect with faceless companies. They connect with real humans. And think about it. It's much easier to build a brand around a person because it inherently has a face than it is to build a brand around a company which is essentially faceless and anonymous. It is just so less trustworthy to go work with a company page than to work with a personal page. The other reason is think about incentives. If you think about LinkedIn and how it makes money, LinkedIn makes money by selling advertising. So if LinkedIn hypothetically gave your company page a lot of organic impressions, would you then pay for paid reach from that account? Unlikely, right? Because you're getting the result organically. So there is a subtle reason which I believe is that the LinkedIn algorithm shouldn't really give you impressions on your company page because it kind of kills their own advertising channel where they're actually making the real money. So be very careful. You need to work along with LinkedIn's incentives, which is they want to make money from advertising, and therefore the better way to post and what helps your clients build trust is to post from a personal profile. The additional advantage is as a person, you already have a slight warm network. You have people that know you. So whenever you're beginning your LinkedIn journey, you are just not starting from scratch. There are people that you can connect with instantaneously that know who you are. And that's how we helped Joshua, for example, book 36 calls in his first circa 8 weeks, simply because we were able to turn on his LinkedIn profile, even though he had basically 0 followers and 0 connections. And it's also how we were able to help David basically turn his profile from 0 to his first 500 connections and book in a handful of calls and close coaching clients almost instantaneously because we were able to leverage the fact that we're posting from a personal profile and not a company profile because there is so much more inherent trust. So here's the very quick way to fix this mistake. Simply choose 1 to 3 key people from your company, ideally including the founder, and focus your content strategy on building their personal brands instead of the company page. People simply need to trust you before they buy from you. And if they trust you as a person, they're much more likely to do business with your company. And if you really want to use your company page, use it as a resource hub, but not as your primary content distribution channel. But beware, there's another critical mistake that people make even after they switch to personal profiles. The second deadly mistake is trying to consistently sell directly in your posts. And I see this all the time, posts that are basically just advertisements in an attempt to be disguised as content. Like I can show you some over here. We have this account which seems to talk a lot about insurance and medical insurance, and almost every single post is trying to encourage some interaction and some bottom funnel action to engage further. So for example, we can look at this post over here and we talk about the benefits, what he learned about the Beacons program. So it's very bottom funnel. We have another one that talks about how to save costs, and all these posts are all very bottom funnel. They're all saying, hey, we're the better solution, you should pay for us, you should buy us, we're the better place to be. And in doing so, you're only speaking to this very bottom section of the market, which is very aware about the product, very aware about the concept, and therefore is open to the idea. And let me be blunt, this doesn't work. People don't go on LinkedIn to be sold to, they go to be informed, educated, entertained. And so when you immediately try to sell in your LinkedIn posts, you trigger what I personally call the LinkedIn defense mechanism. People instantly tune out. See, if every one of your posts is ending with "contact me to learn how I can help your business save money or make money," then ultimately you're actually not going to get much traction. Your content can be as good as it can be, but if you're constantly trying to sell, you're basically going to kill your results. So the key isn't to avoid selling altogether, it's to sell by not selling. You need to demonstrate your authority in the form of stories, case studies, personal journeys, frameworks. You need to give value away, and this approach is significantly more effective than direct pitching. It means you have to talk about yourself a little bit more, but not so much that you come across as this cringe influencer. Show people you know what you're talking about and they will naturally want to work with you. But honestly, this strategy only works if you avoid mistake number 3. The third mistake is having a vague, generic, or overly complicated LinkedIn profile. Most businesses try to cram everything they do into their headline and about section, and that makes for a really confusing LinkedIn profile. And you've probably seen them before. They say digital marketing, SEO, PPC, social media management, web design, branding, content. They say all these things that they do, and you look at the profile and you go, hey, like, how did that person help me? Or what do they do exactly? This approach of saying loads of different things because you want to cover the market or you want to cover all the people you can help actually backfires. And we sometimes even see it in the way of business titles. For example, we have B2B advisor, serial CEO, angel investor, 25 years in tech. Like, I mean, cool. It sounds interesting, but what can you do for me? How can you help me? When I audit LinkedIn profiles, I always ask this very simple question. After reading your headline, would someone instantly understand exactly who you help and how you help them? And honestly, for 90% of profiles for businesses, the answer is no. See, one of our clients, Kevin, had this problem. He basically had a headline that said, CEO of company, I run an ad agency. And in our initial call, I asked him a few questions. One, who are your best clients? He said, well, I work with lots of ICB, but the best one are the SaaS companies. And I then asked, cool, what specific results have you helped them achieve? And he said, well, we typically help them reduce their CAC by this percent, we increase their ROAS by this percent, and we do it all really quickly. And I was like, whoa, that's really specific. So let's change this generic thing about who you are, what business you run, into I help SaaS companies increase their ROAS by 30% in 6 months without increasing ad spend. Super simple, super clear. Within weeks, he was able to book in calls immediately and he started attracting the exact right type of client. Now, mistake number 4 is using engagement pods to artificially boost your content. And if you're not familiar with this, engagement pods are groups where people agree to like, comment, and share each other's posts in order to trick the LinkedIn algorithm into thinking their content is performing well, or to give themselves a dopamine boost that they're doing really well with their content because it's getting lots of like. And let me be very, very clear. Engagement pods suck. Do not use them. I will stand on this hill and I will make it very clear to you. Whoever's using one right now, I know this is going to trigger you, but it's the fact. And I'm going to tell you here's why they're so problematic. And I can tell you this with such confidence because I've worked with clients who had engagement pods on. We turned them off because they weren't getting results, and then we got better results afterwards. I've worked with clients that worked with me for a bit, got good results, turned this engagement pod on because they chased faster results. Results went to 0, and then they came back to us for more help. It is very, very clear for me. So here's why it's so problematic. If the people engaging with your content through pods are not your ideal clients, and they almost never are, the LinkedIn's algorithm will show your content to more people like them. People who are not your ideal client. So I can spot pod content from a mile away, and so can LinkedIn's algorithm, because if I can do it so easily in a few seconds, so can they. And so here are the telltale signs. Sign number 1 is unnaturally consistent engagement numbers across different types of posts. So let's look at this profile. We're seeing 34 likes, 38, 25, 32, 33, 34, 36. That's an incredibly consistent number, especially when I look at the posts and they're ranging from top funnel to bottom funnel. So I know something is artificially boosting the bottom ones up, and that boost is not even helping the top funnels grow any further. So it's very clear that this minimum number of likes they're hovering around is clearly a very unnatural phenomenon. I can also click to see who's liking this content. I will immediately know who's in the pod and who's running the pod and how much they're paying for it. It's almost very, very clear for me. So here's the truth. In my eyes, it is so much better to have a post that gets 10 likes, that's going to the right audience, that is not podded up, than to get 100 likes, 100 comments, and have a post that's being podded or engagement or fake boosted and going outwards. There is just a world of difference between the two, and anyone that's gone through this journey will attest to the fact that pods do not work, they do not help you, but it is one of the easiest businesses to run to make very quick money. It is very easy for me, for example, to create an engagement pod business and make 50k to 100k a month very quickly, but I know It's not the right thing for you to do, and it's not the right thing that will help you grow your business. It's also why with the clients I work with, we don't like each other's posts and we don't encourage a pod engagement. If that happens naturally, that's completely cool, that's okay, but I will never say to someone, hey, all like each other's posts. It's just not a good idea. And if you're in a community or in a group where you're being encouraged to do that, think very carefully about the short-term incentives for that versus the long-term growth that you're looking to get for your business. But even if you're creating content for the right audience, you still might be making mistake number 5. The 5th mistake is messing up connection follow-ups, which is where most businesses lose potential clients. So you connect with someone on LinkedIn and you immediately receive a message that says something along the lines of, hey name, thanks for connecting, we help businesses do this, I think you would be useful, do you want to have a chat or have a call? And you're like, no I don't know who you are, I don't know what you do, I don't trust you, why would I ever book in a call with you immediately? And this is one of the biggest mistakes with LinkedIn. And then the next level mistake is they then proceed to follow up with you over 2, 3, 4, 5 messages over the next few days saying, hey, just bumping this, hey, do you want to chat? Or we also do this. And I'm like, this is for me a very desperate follow-up sequence. And the approach is several things. One, it's clearly automated and it feels automated. And I'm always less likely to respond to it. And I'm sure you are too. And even when the businesses add the recipient's first name or the company name, again, we all know it's possible. The messaging still feels robotic. It still feels impersonal. So here's what my clients do and we do differently. First, we understand message psychology. When you receive a single paragraph with perfect formatting, with full stops, but all in one sentence, with the first name, with the company name, your brain immediately categorizes it as an automated sales message and then ignores it. So instead, you want to mirror natural conversation patterns. How do you speak to your friends over WhatsApp, over iMessage? It's occasional typos, it's informal language, it's abbreviations, it's specific references that can't be automated. It's sending multi-line messages, and what I mean by that is you write a message, you hit enter, it sends, then you send another message. So for example, it's like, hey John, that's it, you send that message. Just saw your post, send that message. I love that little bit, don't know what you think about this, make a specific comment, make a specific observation. By the way, with BTW, I've been working on a few things with similar clients. Have you seen this issue? Now that is a more natural way to have a conversation and to open up a discussion, because one, we're not trying to book in a meeting, two, we're genuinely doing it manually and we're showing the manual elements of our work. And I know this is manual again because when you're using automation tools, you simply cannot send a series of short messages very quickly. It's not possible. So the second you do it, it looks real. When you make the observation, you show you've actually read their content, you've created curiosity, and you've offered value, in fact, before asking for anything. And so for follow-ups, personally, the most effective approach is completely maximum 2 follow-up messages, spaced at least 5 to 30 days apart. The first follow-up should add some sort of value. Don't just bump the conversation. And for high-value prospects, if you want to put the effort in to really make it seem personalized and non-automated, because that's what we're trying to aim for, send a voice message. It approximately increases response rates by 3x compared to text. A 30-second personalized voice note feels impossible to automate and shows genuine interest. And finally, you simply want to make sure that you are tracking everything. We personally use a tool called Condo, and that helps us tag conversations, but you can make it as simple as possible by using a spreadsheet, and all you gotta have in this spreadsheet is a column with the LinkedIn profile, with their name, and the date of the next follow-up. Don't overcomplicate this, don't make it too difficult, and you can even have a column for just status, like is it a follow-up lead, is it replied, are you chasing to book in the meeting? That way, you can track whether you're following up with leads, what the status of your leads are, without coming across as being aggressive or automated. So there you have it, the 5 critical LinkedIn mistakes that are likely holding you back from results. And what makes these mistakes so damaging is that they're often invisible to the businesses making them. You might be putting in significant time and effort on LinkedIn without realizing that these fundamental issues are undermining everything that you do. So let's recap the solutions. The best businesses seeing the best results on LinkedIn aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest following or the most polished content or the most number of likes. They're the ones that have stopped making these mistakes from their approach. They're the ones that are doing things slightly differently because by definition, they're better than their average result. I hope you found this breakdown helpful. And if you want to know exactly how you can make 100K a month from your LinkedIn profile, just check out this video right here.